The state of Maine continues waiting for the results of 3 races from Tuesday's primary.
Today, election officials began sifting through the ballots. News Center Maine's Christian Harsa has more on the process.
Ranked choice voting is underway, and this is the hottest party in town.
Okay, let the fun begin.
This is a ranked choice party, and like any good party, you've got things to hang, things to organize, and it's open invite. You just can't go past this line, says Deputy Chief Secretary of State Kate McBrien.
Oh, I think we do have a few towns that are still coming in, but almost all of it is here.
Thousands of distinguished guests. Ballots from 487 precincts from around the state get a police escort. And after that, the real party games begin. Memory sticks get opened up and uploaded to computers not connected to the internet, and paper ballots get scanned.
It is super boring. We all acknowledge that. But to a total geek like me, it's also really exciting.
Oh, this is fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
Joel Stankus from the Bobby Charles campaign being a bit facetious.
So I have actually watched a lot of paint dry as a carpenter, so I don't know, it's pretty much at par.
The counting and scanning and uploading all get plugged into one computer tabulation.
The software is such that it runs the numbers all in one time. It's like milliseconds to do that. So we're going to keep that.
Deputy Secretary of State Julie Flynn runs this operation and says the results will probably be a simple spreadsheet.
So maybe it'll have a little more dramatic effect. You know, after all of this, we want to get our fun and make sure that we have some drama.
Fanfare or not, the candidates awaiting results like Shanabello's campaign, represented by Sally Clucci, it's a good time.
I think it's great. I think it's super nerdy. I think it's super cool, and I'm glad to be here.
When will this party wrap up? Well, it's not quite clear yet, but the hope is to do it before June 19th. In Augusta, Christian Harsa, News Center, Maine.
The attorney for former gubernatorial candidate and convicted sex offender Eliot Cutler wants his client's new probation violation charge dismissed. We told you yesterday this is now his 6th alleged violation. News Center Maine's Brianna Bush is speaking with a legal expert on why this case is far from typical.
Eliot Cutler is currently being held here at the Penobscot County Jail for an alleged 6th probation violation, a matter one legal expert is calling unusual.
When somebody who is well-renowned and has a really strong reputation, has a lot of resources, when that individual comes into the criminal justice system, that's not what we typically see.
According to Cutler's attorney, he was arrested for failing to sign a probation treatment plan document that included internet restrictions. This comes nearly 2 weeks after a probation revocation hearing regarding previous alleged violations. During that hearing, the judge granted him limited internet access. However, his attorney, Walt McKee, told News Center Maine that the document Cutler was required to sign was inconsistent with what the court ordered and believes Cutler should be released.
Is he not taking probation seriously? Is the state being very heavy-handed with their enforcement? Are they trying to work with him so he's successful? Or are they being overly harsh?
Those are all questions Executive Director of the Maine Commission on Public Defense Services, Frayla Tarpinian, says are being raised. She says the alleged probation violations remaining unresolved are delaying the case. Last week, the case was continued to allow the state more time to investigate.
The interrupting motions are absolutely lengthening the process.
Tarpinian also says the situation would look different if Cutler was accused of illegal conduct, but in this case, he's accused of violating the conditions of his probation. She says unlike a traditional criminal trial, there is no jury in a probation revocation proceeding. Instead, it will be up to the judge to determine whether Cutler violated the conditions of his probation.
Is this a minor violation? Is this not that serious? Can this be handled through more conditions that will require that he comply?
Cutler is due for an initial court appearance for the latest probation violation. However, it is unclear when that hearing will be. In Bangor, Brianna Bush, News Center, Maine.
4 people who were hurt in the Robbins Lumber Mill explosion are still being treated at Maine Health Maine Medical Center in Portland.
In the 4 weeks they've been there, first responders have been collecting donations for family members who've been spending most of that time at the hospital. Chris Costa joins us now with a new call for help. Hi, Chris.
Hi there, Amanda. One of those people you're talking about is Katie Page. She's a firefighter for both Belmont and Northport. And she was one of the people injured in the blast. Her husband, Paul, tells me she's getting hand graft surgery today, and that while she was nervous, she is in good spirits. The Portland Firefighters Children's Burn Foundation is helping families like hers entirely through donations because they say burn injuries are life-changing.
When you see a large-scale event like this, you want to jump into action.
It comes naturally to firefighters.
That's who we are. Yeah.
When news broke of the Robbins lumber mill explosion, Chris Cole knew he had to do something.
So our involvement began very quickly, and we haven't really left the family sides since.
12 people hurt, one volunteer firefighter dead.
It certainly hits a little closer to home when it is another first responder.
Others still in the hospital, more than 25 days since the incident.
It's a long process. There's a lot of healing that needs to be done for both the families and the survivors, and we just want to make sure we're there along the way. The request will come through by email, usually from the Maine Med Care team.
Cole is a Portland firefighter and a member of the Portland Firefighters Children's Burn Foundation. It's a nonprofit dedicated to helping burn survivors and their loved ones.
The community has certainly rallied together. It's a very, very large outpouring to make sure that these families are supported, and they have expressed gratitude on numerous occasions.
Since the explosion, the Burn Foundation has been organizing donations, money that has been paying for families at Maine Med to stay in hotels, eat meals, and more. And recognition for the hospital staff, too.
And they can take something off their plate while they are with their families to ensure that they get to heal and recover. There's some wild stories out there.
But these firefighters say their support goes beyond dollars, because burn injuries leave more than physical scars.
This was a very large event, right? Traumatic for anyone involved. Now you take that and they're in their recovery phase and long duration, they are now different.
So your relationships change with your loved one and your partners and your children and your parents. It's not a broken arm, it's not a hidden injury. The behavioral health side of it is huge in how to navigate society and stares and comments, and in building that confidence, strength in the burn survivor to interact in public as they had before, or as close to as they had before.
The foundation runs a winter camp for young burn survivors.
One girl told me it's not therapy camp, it's a place where I can go and just forget about my burns for a week.
And when camp ends, or when patients leave the hospital, they go back to a new normal.
We're not concerned about this moment, we're helping with that. We're concerned about 2 months from now, 6 months from now. These injuries don't just go away for these folks, but a lot of other people's lives do continue to move on, and we want to make sure that we're still there with them.
So the Children's Burn Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit, again, it itself runs entirely on donations. People in Belmont are hosting a fundraiser later this month for Katie and another firefighter, Wayne Woodbury, who is also hurt. That event takes place June 28th in the town of Belmont. And next week, we're going to take you inside the only hospital in Maine that can treat burns and explain the new technology that they are using. In the studio, Chris Costa, News Center Maine.